Hello, welcome back. I wanted to come here today and chat with you about the difference between saying, for example, I worked there and I used to work there. They are very different in English, and if you are Brazilian like me or Portuguese is your first language, you might be wondering is thinking, you might be wondering how to say certain things in the past because you think you're supposed to use the simple past. For example, I worked. This is just the simple past in English, you know, the simple way to talk about the past. But today you're going to find out that you're not actually supposed to be saying that sometimes. So we're going to talk about this, okay? Before giving you grammatical explanations and rules and all these things that we don't like to know about, I am going to tell you, I'm going to give you two simple examples for you to look at and for you to analyze a little bit, okay? Because it's so important that when you're learning, you know how to learn by yourself. So you know how to do things without me, without anyone telling you what to do, all right? So how do we learn to do that? We learn to analyze, look at something and think, why is it like that? Let me think. Let me see if I can find an answer. And then you find an answer. So that's what we're going to do first, okay? Think about this example. I lived in London last year. I lived in London last year. It's a very good sentence. It's not true about me, but it's a very good sentence. I lived in London last year, no problem. Now listen to this, okay? I used to live in London. What? Yeah, I used to live in London. This means that I lived in London, so it's in the past as well. Hold on a minute. I'm totally confused. You're telling me that I lived in London is the past, and then you say I used to live in London, and that's the past as well? What? Yeah, it is, but they're different meanings. They have different meanings. They're different, okay? I lived in London last year. Okay, I lived in London last year. I'm telling you a sentence. Okay, fine, no problem. But when I say I used to live in London, I'm saying that I used to live in London. I no longer live in London because now I live in Brazil. So when you say I used to live, you're saying this is what happened at that time in the past, but the situation now is different, okay? So you would say something like this. I worked in a bank. Okay, I used to work in a bank because you worked there, but you no longer work there. So the best way to learn this, and I really do think this is the most effective way to learn this, is translating. Yes, it really is, because then you can see clearly what I lived means and what I used to live means. You can see clearly, and when you see this in your language, then it's easier to understand how to use them, okay? So although I'm not going to speak to you in Portuguese because I never do, I'm just going to write here the translation for I lived and I used to live for you to see, okay? I'm not speaking to you in Portuguese, but I think it's good for you to see this translation. When you talk about things like, I had breakfast at that bakery yesterday. I had breakfast at that bakery yesterday. Okay, no probs. When you say, I used to have breakfast at that bakery, it means that in the past, you had breakfast there all the time, and now you don't anymore. So there is a comparison between the past and the present, you see? As I said, if you translate, it's so much easier to understand this for real. And needless to say, this is an expression and it means, you know, I really don't need to say this because it's obvious, but I will. Needless to say, this works for every verb in English. So you could say, I used to see, I used to go, I used to buy, I used to sleep, I used to make. You can use it for every verb, obviously. You just adapt according to your sentence. And it's always I used to, and the verb is in the present always, okay? For this situation that we're talking about here, when we're talking about the past. I'm going to give you an example, one more example to help you get your head around this more. I used to watch Grey's Anatomy. This means that in the past, I was watching Grey's Anatomy a lot, okay? I used to watch Grey's Anatomy. I don't anymore because it just got a bit boring. It got a bit boring. It became boring. To me, it was not boring in the beginning, but then after like 9 seasons, it got a bit boring. So I used to watch it. I'm saying that I don't watch anymore, okay? So what I want you to do to help you practice is leave me a comment down below saying I used to and something that you used to do which you no longer do, which is not, it's no longer a part of your life. So I can have a little look, okay? Thank you for being with me today. Have a wonderful week and I'll see you next week. Bye.